Now let us talk more about analysis of running time. And last time we have seen how we got through this theta and omega and big O notation. Now we'll see how to compute upper bound in practice, because we will be provided by some elementary statement, say ai plus plus, say if x equal to 0 return 1 or return x square. All these may take order of 1, or we say that it will be some constant number of steps, order of 1. When constant number of steps are there, we say that it will take theta one time, order of 1 we say. And how long they take, uh, it does not depend on how large your input is. If it is order of 1, this may also happen that there may be two functions or two code blocks or various code blocks which you have already determined the running times, like t1n and t2n. Now you might want to find out the final one. For that you can just add them, like tn will be t1n plus t2n, and these idea can be generalized to loops as well. For example, if you have a loop, say it runs from 0 to n minus 1, this I is a variable which varies from 0 to n minus 1, then what we can say is we have n separate code blocks. It will run for n times, so it will execute n times. Total number of executing them will be tn pn minus 1 ti1. This is nothing but the addition, and ti is nothing but we have just added another variable I to our running time, this as a subscript. The time which is to run the specific or to run the block for a specific I will often depend on this value. This is very important because I'll be going to use it later. And recursive function can be somewhat challenging, because when the function is called with an input size n and it performs some internal computation which takes total time fn also. So apart from this recursion, there is another time which is also we need to take care, that is fn, and it calls itself once and more, and on smaller inputs its work. We have already seen recursion. So how it is going to work, because this tn will be actually equal to or less than this fn, which is the time, total time for several internal computation, and the other time will be tn1 to tk till the time this recursion is going on. So this kind of relation is very important, and we call it as a recurrence relationship. This relationship is called as a recurrence relationship, and this is how we define the running time of the recursion. And this setting up of this recursion or recurrence relation is always the first step in analyzing a recursive function. So these are the steps, and the way to go about it to solve this recurrence is first to set up one or more sums, or to set up the recurrence relationship, which is which one is better to you, and we'll see it later that we will be using it. And these steps are important because once you are with these steps, it will be very easy to solve the recurrence relationship. Okay, now let us deal with some sums. These are very important because you need to know that once you are being presented with, okay, this is order 1, this is order of n square, this is order of log n, how you are going to perceive. Because mostly what happens in class, algorithm is being shown and you are being presented, okay, this is order of n log n. Now the students keep on thinking how it is n log n. This is the basic question which remain there till the time either he studies again in later stage of his life, or maybe that confusion will always remain. So please understand very carefully that if you have summation of a number, that is actually n into n plus 1 by 2, then the order will be n square, because n plus 1 by 2 is nothing but n square plus n by 2. And as I suggested earlier, we will always take the higher one. We are not concerned about this n or constant, only this higher one. And this, if I to the power p, let us generalize it. If I to the power p, this was I to the power 1, so it became n square. So for any I to the power p, this will be equal to n to the power p plus 1, right? It manages here. I to the power 1 is order of n square. So this is the generalized thing you can remember. And if some constant is there, c to the power I, and I varies from 0 to n, like c square, c cube, constant q, then the order will be c to the power n. This is called a geometric series, and this was actually our arithmetic series, geometric series. And finally we come to harmonic series. If the values are like 1 to the power 1 to the power 1 into I to the power minus 1, that is 1 by I plus 1 by I square, something of this sort. When the actual value which you are talking about is in the denominator and it is increasing, then we call it as a harmonic series, and it will always be order of log n. 1 by I will be order of log n. So let us take some example. This is a simple example. We have two for loops. One goes from 0 to n I, and j goes from 0 to n, again same values, and this aij will be assigned I into j value. How to analyze it? This particular line aij equal to I into j, you always know one line will take theta 1, as I suggested earlier also. So the inner loop runs n times. Why? This for loop, this will run from 0 to n, that is, it will run n times. This line will take theta 1, this line will take theta 1, and this will run n times. So we get this inner loop to run how many times? Theta 1 and summation of 0 to 1, that is 0 to n minus 1 summation theta n. And then this loop will run again on this. This is the inner loop. This upper loop or outer loop will also run for 0 to n minus 1. So what we are doing, we have already computed this, and now we are adding 0 to n minus 1 for the outer loop. So actually this is the sum. And how to evaluate it? Theta of 1 from 0 to n, say 1 plus 1 plus 1 to n time is nothing but n. So this will be theta n. So you can just n into theta 1 can be, you can just represent it through theta n. So actually it is theta n. This is so easy, 1 plus 1 till n times, so that will be n only. That is why we have written n into theta 1, that is theta 1. Now outer loop is also there, and the same will go for this n into n plus n to this n times. So actually it will be n into theta n, and this will again be n. So n into n will be n square, order of n square. Let us always generalize it, that we got a running time of theta n square. And this example was quite easy because the running time of inner loop did not depend on I. See, in this particular case, we are not depending on this I. We are just depending on j. What happens if we are depending on this loop? The second loop is depending on I to work. Let us take an example. For int I equal to 0, this is the same line as above one. We have just added a if line, and here this second line or second for loop is dependent. It will start with 0 and it will be dependent on I, j plus plus, and then same line. So if and dependency we have added, so we have just changed it. And in the beginning of our analysis stays the same, theta of 1 for this line. This will always be same. It will take order of 1, but now what we have to do is we have to calculate the running time of inner loop theta of 1 j to I minus 1. See, it was j from I to n minus 1. Now this is j 0 to I minus 1 because it is dependent on I. Now we go one level further out, that is we have if also. What if does? It means that there are some inputs on which this last three lines don't take place. This ti and will not take place, but only a constant number, say not equal to 0, when ai0 not equal to 0. ai0 not equal to 0, then only it will take place. So I will run for some times. But let us convince ourselves that this part still takes. We are dealing with always the worst time. Let us convince ourselves that this will be the maximum time, because this can only be a maximum time. There will be no more than this time. So the upper bound is order of this. We are clear now. This is clear. Okay. Sigma of order 1 is this is clear. Because we at most added a constant number of operations to check. But for the lower bound, that is for omega, we want to find out an input where we indeed execute the inner loop every time. We want that inner loop should go every time, right? I hope you understood that worst time will be this if will never happen. This will never happen. And the best case will be this always happens. So we pick a bad case, say ai equal to 0 equal to 0 for all I, and we call that loop. So we are convinced that this will again be such that the stuff inside will be taking this much of time, theta of this time that we have already discussed. Let us go again at the outer loop, and this loop we are talking about, and sum up the times for what happens inside the loop. So this is pretty easy. We have already computed this, and we'll go from 0 to n minus 1. So we have to set up the sum. Now we have done all these things. Let us evaluate. How to evaluate? The sum can be simplified a bit by getting rid of this one of the theta, which is unnecessary, and because this theta 1 is theta I only. Is from 0 to I minus 1, theta 1 is I only. I told you 1 to n, 1 plus 1 plus that will be n. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 till I, that is will be theta I. So now we have this I to n minus 1 I. This we have replaced by I. That's where one of our some formula comes in and tells us that it is actually theta n square. See, I equal to 0 to n minus 1, some I is there. What will be there? Recall this. What was this? Order of n square. So it will be order of n square. So we again proved a tight bound of theta of n square, but at this point we may really think, because two examples we have seen and we have found that ultimately it goes down or boils down to theta n square. So student may understand, okay, every time two loops it is theta of n square or order of n square, but it is not true. Let me take an example. For this is for two fors, same question, same example, but here the I varies or I jumps twice. I is equal to I into 2. From this I, 1 it goes to 2, then 4, like this. Let us start first, make up our functions or order, and then we will evaluate. As before, this we have no problem in saying that this line will take order of 1. So inner loop will take order of, because it is till j till I. So this is order of 1 and it goes from j0 to I. So this will be theta I. We have already computed it and told you that about that. But now this outer loop is a bit more interesting. How? It doesn't run all over I. It will not run for all whole I. It will only run. I plus plus was okay when we learned previous one, but now it will go from I is equal to I into 2. So it is running to the power of 2. So it will be 2 square, 2 cube, like this. So the running time will be nothing but theta 1, theta 2 till this theta n. So what is the value? See, First, let us see how many terms are in this sum. And since we double I each time, then there are log n terms. We always know when we double it, it will be log n terms. So we can write these terms 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1 to the power log n times. So ultimately the running time will be, how many terms are there? K equal to 0 to a log n. These are the number of terms from 0 to log n. And this will be theta of 2 to the power k, because actually it is 2 to the power k only. It is going to 2 to the power k. So we have to set up sum and we need to evaluate now. How? We see that we can apply this geometric series formula easily. So k equal to 0 to log n and theta is 2 to the power k. Theta is 2 to the power k. To evaluate, we use this theta 2 to the power k, and this is nothing but from 0 to a log n. This is nothing but 2 to the power log n, and this is nothing but order of n. So the running time comes to linear. So if you are aware of this log applications, you will easily understand how we come to the decision that this is theta of n, even though we have two nested loops. Let us take one more example that will set up our recurrence relationship. For example, if you have some star a, means you want to make an array, and this particular function is for this is our recursive function, and in this main we are making an array and we are calling this function, this recursive function, from a for. For goes from 0 to n, right? And a equal to 0, it always makes it 0 before performing this. But let us first analyze this main. The loop takes theta n. This loop is going to take theta n and return what? That is statement theta 1. Okay, the declaration of a, this is the declaration, this is the definition. So the declaration will take how much time? Order of 1, that is theta of 1. So the total will be theta of n. Again, the loop takes theta n. The return statement, this theta 1. Loop theta n. This return statement theta 1. Declaration take theta 1. So all will be theta n plus whatever f takes. We have not computed f yet. This one, we combine them. We say that it is theta n, and then we have not gone to f till now. This TLRD, let us take this, the running time of f on inputs, this f, that is recursive function, for some L, R and D. That is 3 variables more than what we are used to. Okay, so let us see that we notice that D doesn't really affect the running time at all. Where is D? This D. Where is D? If it is not there, it is not there itself. So D is not affecting the running time at all, since it's just added to some values here. It is just being added to some AI. It is not affecting, right? So we can just omit that. And then we notice that F seems to run a loop from L to R. There is a loop also from L to R. This is a loop from L to R. So the running time will depend on what? L minus R. From L to R, that means L minus R times it goes L minus R. Okay, let's call that K. Let us have some K for R minus 1, R minus L. Then this for loop, let us come to this for loop. For loop will take how much time? We have seen that R minus L we have taken as K, so it will run for theta K times. As we have seen theta n times, here it will run for K times, so it will be theta K. And the two recursive call, these are the two recursive calls. The two recursive calls have regions of size K by 2. How this is K by 2? Since we have seen, or we have taken a decision, then we call this as k. And inside this if there are two f's, so this will be k by 2 and this will be k by 2, and we have already computed this what as theta k. So the actual running time will be for we have theta k. For this first f it will be tk by 2, and the second k it will be tk by 2. So it will be actually theta k plus 2tk by 2. So this is how we set up the recurrence, which already is half the work done, and this is how we complete it. So thank you so much. I hope you got the idea. Take care.